Hello folks, I'm trying a new format to my channel. I will be voicing the introduction and post-video analysis. I plan to add more content to the video clip in different ways that will become more apparent. The reason for the change is that YouTube has demonetized my videos, and so I am trying to add more of my own content to remonetize the videos. I hope this is something you can get interested in. This upcoming clip is Noam Chomsky being asked about climate justice by Stephen Wallace, who was kind enough to share his conversation with Noam Chomsky to the channel. Following the video, I will explore more deeply some of the things Noam Chomsky has mentioned in the video clip. Now off to this wonderful clip of Noam Chomsky, and thanks again to Stephen for sharing the video.
Okay.
Good morning, Noam.
Hi.
So, talking about things, just getting straight to it, Sunrise Movement is going into a phase of what I would call renewal in terms of recruiting in schools and recruiting in communities. The fight for what we call climate justice is something quite urgent, as you know. And I'm wondering what you say. What is the state of where we're at in this fight? What do you see when you're looking?
Well, I should perhaps begin by saying that the person you really ought to be talking to, I think, is my daughter, Aviva, who is just doing a lot of work on climate justice, just has an important book on it. I mean, as she and others point out, it's not just a matter of science. I mean, you can think of ways of cutting back heating the atmosphere. The question is how it's going to be done that will allow people to survive in a decent way, even move to a better world. So one thing that surely has to be done, actually, my colleague Bob Pollan has been doing a lot of work on this, is ensuring transition programs for people who are going to be losing their jobs as fossil fuels are reduced. So we hope, unfortunately, they're not being reduced, but we have to get to the point where we're cutting back sharply on fossil fuels, and that will, of course, mean potential hardships for communities, and have to work with them to overcome that. As I say, Bob has been quite successful on that, even getting the mine workers union in West Virginia, a number of unions in California and Ohio to advocate transition programs, which will train workers for different, and in fact, better jobs. That's crucial for getting, first of all, it's just necessary on human grounds, but even tactically, it's necessary to overcome natural kinds of opposition to taking the steps that have to be taken. There's also a huge problem, I don't know how to overcome this, of getting the rich countries to agree to provide substantial funding for the poorer countries of the world to deal with the critical problems. If they don't, we all die. It's not just altruism, but a substantial part of the emissions are coming from poorer countries trying to deal with impossibly difficult problems unless they have significant aid. They're not going to be able to do it. And they could do it, like Africa, which is the fastest growing continent, could simply leap over the fossil fuel stage, just as many countries have done with communications. You don't have to go through all the stages that the West went through. You can go immediately to more advanced stages, like iPhones instead of wires overground, and similarly solar energy instead of the whole fossil fuel infrastructure. There's, of course, very powerful interests opposed to that. The fossil fuel industries and everything around them, but it can be done, and it's just got to be done, or else not only they will be a disaster for them, but we'll all be gone. And unfortunately, it's going right in the opposite direction now. We haven't got a lot of time. There's also a major problem of simply disinformation, which is part of something much broader, the general breakdown of the whole social order is so extreme that people just distrust everything. I mean, by now it's to the point where people are refusing to give their children measles vaccines, because who knows what those scientists in the deep state are up to. And, you can really destroy the society that way. In fact, the death toll is going way up.
Noam Chomsky mentions his daughter, Aviva Chomsky, and Aviva Chomsky's book is Science Enough. Her central conclusion is that scientific knowledge is a necessary but insufficient tool for tackling climate change. Here's a breakdown of her key points. 1, corporations and governments won't lead the way. Chomsky argues that corporations and governments in their current form are unlikely to prioritize drastic change. She emphasizes the need for a strong popular movement demanding action. 2, science denial is only part of the problem. While acknowledging the dangers of science denial, Chomsky argues that focusing solely on this issue overshadows the deeper societal changes needed. 3, climate change is an issue of justice. The burden of climate change falls disproportionately on the poor and marginalized. She calls for a solution that addresses global inequality and historical injustice related to resource use. 4, overhauling the global economy. Chomsky argues that the endless growth model is unsustainable and incompatible with environmental well-being. She explores alternative economic frameworks like degrowth that prioritize environmental sustainability. Noam Chomsky also mentions Robert Pollin, who is a prominent economist who has made significant contributions to understanding the economic viability and potential of green technologies. Here are some key areas of his work. 1, job creation. Pollin argues that transitioning to green technologies can create a significant number of new jobs. His research shows that investment in renewable energy and energy efficiency can lead to net job gains, even when accounting for job losses in fossil fuel sectors. 2, economic growth. Pollin challenges the notion that environmental regulations and green technologies hinder economic growth. He argues that investments in clean energy can stimulate innovation, create new industries, and ultimately lead to a more sustainable and prosperous economy. 3, cost analysis. Pollin's research analyzes the costs and benefits of different green technologies. He demonstrates that while upfront costs may be higher for renewables compared to fossil fuels, the long-term economic benefits, including reduced healthcare costs from clean air, outweigh the initial investment. 4, Green New Deal. Pollin is a vocal supporter of the new Green Deal, a proposed set of policies aiming at addressing climate change and economic inequality. He has conducted research demonstrating the economic feasibility of the new Green Deal and its potential to create millions of jobs. And lastly, global perspective. Pollin's work extends beyond the U.S. He analyzes the economic potential of green technologies in developing countries, highlighting the opportunity for leapfrogging dirty energy stages and transition directly to renewables. Well, I hope you liked the video and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you. Bye-bye for now. Take care.